invocation by, who's going to do it? Who's going to do the invocation? Mayor, you feel like doing the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this day, these blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for this awesome responsibility you give us to run this great city that we live in. Bless our people, especially bless our children. Bless us all as we try to move forward to make this world a little bit better than we found it. In our precious name we pray.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilman Ron Brinson to introduce the new employees, and also an item, the last item on the agenda is the South Carolina Fort Dorchester State Champions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We have a really good audience here tonight. What we do is the first meeting of each month at a tradition whereby we introduce all new employees to the city's service. You know, one thing that you might be surprised to learn is you're on television right now. So when you get home, if you want to see what this is all about, tune into YouTube, and I think it's pretty easy to find. So, a tradition, welcoming new employees. When I call your name, please come forward. From the Executive Office, Alexander C. Pridgeon. There he is. From the Police Department, Otto S. Riley and Beth Thomas. Public Works, Anthony Davis and James S. Cienwich. Boy, I probably missed that. Is he here? Correct me? Yeah. How should I have pronounced that? Sinkowicz. You're right, Kenny. We were rehearsing back there, and Kenny got it right. Recreation, Katrina R. Page. A simple and sincere welcome. You know, as the mayor says repeatedly, this is a pretty good job. You get to serve the public. A tradition here too is to turn around and turn around. This is City Council. By the way, he's a member of City Council. He's just sitting in the wrong place. He really is the mayor. We didn't demote him. But City Council gives you the resources to do your job, and we have the highest standards and expectations for public service. So, welcome. Go forward and do a great job. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Item to induction.
I didn't know you were going out of order. You gonna go? Yes, because I think that Mr. Burgess is feeding the kids some pizza.
Oh.
So
That takes care of that.
the next item on the agenda, I'm sorry, do you want to do it, Mr. King? Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the introduction of the principal list honor roll students from semester 1, Jazz Hooker Middle School of Science. Past Principal Jacob Perlmutter, is that right? Did I get that right? Sir, is it Mike yours?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, distinguished councilmen and women of the city of North Charleston. I am Mr. Perlmutter, the proud principal of Zooka Middle School, and I'm here tonight, like we have been for the last 7 years. This is a tradition of ours to recognize one of the reasons why the future of your city is so bright. And, you know, it occurred to me as I was thinking about tonight that we spend a lot of time recognizing athletic achievement and popular students, the band, the step team, artists, and sometimes that we forget that the real standard bearers for a school are the academic achievers. The students who come in every day and work as hard as they do at the work of school. Sometimes schools forget that they're schools first and all those other things second, and that's why this annual celebration has become one of my favorite events of the school year, because we're celebrating students who are the very best at their job of being students. So the scholars we have here tonight are both gifted and hard workers. We have some hardworking students who weren't blessed with the intellectual gifts that these boys and girls have, and we have a great deal in middle school, especially of students who have great God-given gifts but don't work hard enough at their job to receive this honor. So this event works two ways for us. It allows us to recognize the astounding achievement of these boys and girls, and it introduces our current civic leaders to the future leaders of our North Charleston community. So if at this time any faculty, do you mind if I turn this, sir? Okay. Faculty and staff of Zooka Middle School, come on up. Join me, Ms. Lewis, I saw you here. Thank you. So I'll call each of these students down by name and ask that you just stay up in the front of the room here so we can get a picture at the end with the mayor, if that's all right, Mr. Mayor. All right. Grayson Fleming, Addis Coronel, Lauren Jenkins White. Good job, Addis. Alyssa Capanos, Jenny Lynn Rainmiller, Bianca Cedillo Perez, Luis Toledana Garcia, Corey Robinson, no Corey? Corey Singleton, Micaiah Waters, Bernie Hensley, Trey, Janiyah Simmons, Cassandra Drawlinger, Ariana Pinkney, and if I missed anyone, please come on down. Godwins, come on down, Godwins. Okay, so we're clear about what we're talking about here, folks. And Godwins, I'm going to ask that you hold Corey's pictures of school. This is straight A honor roll, okay? Straight A's in every class, all right? Including art, including PE, including pre-engineering and math and science, so. The future leaders of the city of North Charleston, and if we can do this, do you mind if I stage a photo up here, Mr. Mayor? All right, thank you, sir, coming down. And Mr. Mike Brown, if you'll join us too, our new councilman. So can everyone from maybe Trey over come in front? Come on. The yearbook needs it, it's the website. I'm a little nervous, I didn't know we were on TV.
While he's lining them up, I just want to relate, I was in a the greatest thing that we have to do is reward our educators. One of the things that I brought up when we were talking about the issues that we have, I said, we're talking about going from 9 to 11 months of school. Now, is the state appropriating that additional 20% of pay for those educators that are going to now have to work 9 months instead of 9? So, it's about 200 people. I said, all of you that are educators, please raise your hand. About 85, 90% did. Hey, y'all can raise them if you're an educator, because I'm gonna ask the same question and your hands will come down. Those of you who make over $100,000 a year, keep your hands up. Oh, okay. I said, but now, what does the president of Clemson University make? One of the teachers said $350,000 a year. Wow. What does the head coach at Clemson University make? $4 million a year. Now, we have got, as Americans, as people who want to see our communities get better, we've got to put our money where our mouths are for education in the state of South Carolina. And that's true.
Right here would be great. Mr. Mayor, if we can also take a second to celebrate another group of folks you have here. None of these kids is here without their parents. So parents, if you'll stand, all right? And you guys can start
Working my way back here behind Pee Wee. All right, darling, I don't think they can see you, but always remember, if you can't see the camera, it doesn't see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, each one of them.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. As you noted. That's good. Thank you, Jim. That's in your thumb up.
You have item C there, Mr. King? Mr.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with the program here. Wanted to recognize Gary McJunkin for the 2016 Dixie Youth Baseball Hall of Fame inductee. Mr. Paul McCullough, South Carolina State Director, Dixie Youth Base. Dixie Youth. Is he here?
Thank you. Mayor, City Council, what a pleasure it is to be in the birthplace of Dixie Youth Baseball tonight, and for this opportunity to come before you to honor one of your citizens. Gary McJunkin, or Mr. Mack, as we all know him, has dedicated his life to making the world a better place and for all, and much of that has involved Dixie Youth Baseball. Mr. Mack has served many roles in Dixie Youth Baseball, to include State Director, National Director, and Commissioner. One of his proudest roles may be the time that he chaired the Scholarship Committee. Dixie Youth Baseball has awarded over $2 million to scholarships to deserving seniors in 65 years. Through his over 50 years of service to the youth of South Carolina, it is my honor to present on behalf of the South Carolina Dixie Youth Board this plaque recognizing Mr. Mack as a 2016 inductee into the South Carolina Dixie Youth Hall of Fame.
Anybody that's come to North Charleston and played ball since the Mayflower came over knows. When I was playing football at Chicora High School, I always saw this guy at our practices. And that goes back to 1963. So he's been around an extremely long time. And while he loves athletics, and he does, he has been more involved in making sure that athletics is a tool to give young people a chance to move ahead in their life and advance in their life. So, Mr. Mack, on behalf of the city, we want to thank you for all that you have done, not just for recreation, but for all people trying to live together, work together, and love together.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Daniel, come up here. This is my grandson, and I wanted him to be part of this, and I'm going to talk about him in a second. But let me say this. I went to a meeting Sunday, and this was the first meeting of the 1916 season for the Dixie Leagues in this area. And I thought about it as I was going up there. My 65th year in youth sports. North Charleston, for a lot of you people, are really not aware of what's the history of youth baseball in North Charleston. North Charleston has started youth baseball in South Carolina. The first Little League in South Carolina was in North Charleston in 1949. It was played at Whipple Barony. We had the first Pony League in 1952, first Colt League in 1956. We had the first Dixie Youth got started. It was little boys baseball in 1955. The first game was played at Park Circle. Mendel Davis, who later served several terms in Congress, caught the first pitch up there. Program has grown into 13 states, and it's a great program. But that's really not the important part. It's not just baseball. That's not what it's all about. It's about people like this that come through our programs and play in our programs. Hopefully they learn something and they become adults. Some finish our programs, go on to school, get an education. They write for the newspaper. Then they decide they want to play with boats and go down on to New Orleans and manage the terminal down there. I'm talking about Ron Brinson. He's now serving on city council. He played in our program. I can remember him. And I can go through a lot of people. It's been a great life for me. I think it really became a reality 3 years ago. City of North Charleston was sponsoring a state tournament. And a guy came to me. We had the opening ceremonies at the Performing Arts Center, and we had a meal. And after that, a guy came up to me and said, "Mr. Mack, you know who I am?" And I said, "No, I don't." He told me who he was. And I said, "Lord, I haven't seen you for 25 years. And he said, "Henry's grandson is playing in this tournament for Somerville." Now, I coached Henry when he was 13 and 14 in 1953 and 54. Henry had a tough time at home. He joined the Air Force, completed his high school education, got his college degree at the Air Force, career, 20-something years in the Air Force, did great, got out of service. 3 years later, he had heart problems and died. And so they brought this grandson over to meet me. And they told him, says, this man coached your grandfather when he was 13 and 14. And the boy said, really? He said, yeah. I said, tell me something about my grandfather. What kind of ball, what position did he play? I said, he was a catcher. Was he a good ball player? Yes. And then he said, tell me what my grandfather was really like. And for 10 minutes, we talked. He wanted to know what his grandfather was like. What did he enjoy? Did he have a good time? What made him laugh? You see, we think about baseball, but we also think about life. And that's what it's all about. We need to teach them how to live. And that's what I hope we do. My grandson plays baseball. I tell him to, if he wants to play baseball and have fun, do it. If he doesn't have to play. It's been a good life for me. I enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. And I meet people that I've been part of my life over all the years. Let me close with one thing that is a goal, I think, of what I'm talking about, an example of what it's all about. A man got up one morning, his alarm didn't go off, he got up late, his wife burnt the breakfast, he didn't get anything to eat. He went out to start the car and it didn't start. He had to get somebody to take him to work. He got there late, the boss chewed him out, and that was the high point of his day. He finished the day, he got on the bus, caught a ride home. All he wanted to do was get in his lazy boy and crash, forget the day ever existed. He got off the bus, and his little boy, 5 years old, met him. Daddy, play ball with him. No, I don't want to play with him. He went on in the house, and the little boy said, Daddy, read the comics to me. No, I don't want to read to you. And the boy kept after him. And finally, the dad picked up the paper, and he looked and saw a picture of the world. So he said, well, I'll take care of this kid. So he tore the world into small pieces. And he told him, says, go over to the desk and get some tape and put the world back together right. And if you do that, I'll read to you. The boy ran out, picked the tape up, going to do it. The dad settled down, knowing that the kid could not do it. In just a few minutes, the boy was back. The world was put together right. North was north, south was south. Everything was perfect. And then he became the proud father, just like all of us are. And he said, that's great. How did you do it? And the kid said, easy. On the back of the world was a picture of a boy. And I knew if I got the boy together, the world would turn out all right. Now, we laugh about that. But in recreation and in education and in homes, we're trying to put children together right. And if we do that, our world is going to turn all right. And this one is going to turn out all right. One thing I'll say about this one as I leave. My grandson is cuter than any of yours. And I can't help him. God made him that way. That's your problem. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you, Gary. You've certainly been an asset to North Charleston. Moving on with the program, we have a presentation to the board in honor of their support for the city programs. I want to call Ed Barfield and T.J. Rosson to the stage.
Mayor and Council, thank you all very much for giving us a few minutes to do this presentation tonight. With me, I have our Director of Recreation, who has been leading our department for the last 28 years, Mr. Ed Barfield, our Program Director, Mr. Robert Flood, and two of our newest employees, Alice and Austin, and y'all met Katrina Page earlier at the presentation. A few years ago, this global company decided to set foot in North Charleston, and everybody was very excited about them coming. We all knew about the economic impact it would have for our city. We knew about the employment stimulation it would have for our city. We knew about everything you see above the fold in the newspaper. What a lot of us didn't know, that we hope to find out, is that this company is fully committed to whatever community that they're in. And fortunately for us, and I didn't have anything to do with it, but Mr. Robert Flood and Ms. Kathy Cackley, who couldn't be here tonight, were fortunate enough to meet a man named Frank Hatton. Frank is a Boeing employee who I could stand here for an hour and a half and tell you everything about Frank Hatton that makes him fantastic, but I don't think any of you want to be here for an hour and a half. But I will tell you this, Frank Hatton is fantastic. He has done so much for us. He's done so much for our rec department. We've done a lot of after-school programs, some bilingual programs. A lot of our students were able to visit the Boeing plant this summer, which I haven't even visited the Boeing plant this summer, so I know it was a great joy for them to do that. So it's been a fantastic relationship. Frank has introduced us to a lot of his fellow employees, some of the upper management of Boeing, and we've been really, really excited about their commitment not only to the recreation department and to the city, but also to every citizen that we serve on a daily basis. There are two special organizations within the Boeing Company that we'd also like to recognize tonight. The National Society of Black Engineers, the Boeing chapter, they're a very big, intricate part of our program, so thank you all very much. And also the Boeing Hispanic Employees Association. You know, Boeing obviously is a globally recognized company, and both of those organizations have helped diversify our rec department and help reach out to every citizen that we have. So on behalf of the Recreation Department, we just have a small token of our appreciation. It's a plaque that reads, "Presented to Boeing in recognition of your distinguished service, loyalty, and devotion to the North Charleston Recreation Department and all of its participants. Your hard work and dedication to the citizens of our city is greatly appreciated." So on behalf of the Recreation Department in the city of North Charleston, I'd like to ask Mr. Tommy Preston, the Director of National Strategy Engagement, to please come forward and accept this award on behalf of Boeing.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, we and our friends at Parks and Recreation, we want to thank you guys so much for this recognition. I'm not going to talk very long because I want my colleagues to have a chance to say a few words too, but I will say this. There's no doubt that Boeing, South Carolina has been a success not only for this community, not only for the state of South Carolina, but for the country as well. Many years ago when we decided to come here, people thought it was insane that an international company like Boeing would want to bring a facility to South Carolina, but it was the people in this room, particularly the mayor, who believed in us from day one. And we know for a fact that we wouldn't be where we are and we wouldn't be as successful as we are if it weren't for the friends that we have here in North Charleston. We are so proud of the partnerships that we have with this community. We recognize that as we continue to grow as a company, that our workforce is dependent on individuals in this community having the resources that they need to graduate from high school and to colleges in this area and to be able to get jobs in places like Boeing. And we often say that even if folks don't come to Boeing, we want you to know how committed we are to children's education in this community so that they can go and be whatever they aspire to be. We often talk about our friends in the community, and we have a number of friends, but we're really proud of our relationship with the mayor. And I don't know where Ron Anderson back there in the back, but anytime these individuals and a member of council and the city staff, anytime we've come to them for support, they never questioned us. They've always been there to support us, and we
We appreciate this recognition, but we thank you for all that you do for us to make us the great company that we are. It's my honor to introduce a colleague of mine who really has been a trailblazer in our partnerships throughout South Carolina. That's Jessica Jackson, who really does work above and beyond to make sure that we're engaging in community. So I wanted Jessica to have a few words, a chance to say a few words, and also before I sit down, we have to obviously thank Frank Hatton, who Frank is like the Energizer Bunny. We're often trying to find ways to pull him back because he's constantly working, but it's because of people like Frank at Boeing and our partners like we have here, our teammates, that really make this possible. So, Jessica?
Thanks, Tommy. I'll be real brief. Classic Frank standing in the back of all of us right now when he's the one who leads all of this effort. I have to thank Mr. Flood and the team. This would not even be on our radar screen if it weren't for you and your leadership in Liberty Hill especially. So that after-school program pulls at all of our heartstrings, and I know the teammates who are here that spoke to the students over the last several months have really enjoyed their time. So making a financial commitment is one thing, but when we can get our teammates in front of the students to really inspire and engage them, that's really where we feel like we are making a difference. So, Frank, come on. I know you have some words. Come on. Frank's never shy.
This will be quick. Seriously, thank you guys. One of the things I try to do is lead by example. It's one thing to say that we're going to do this, but until you get directly involved in this, you can't really make that true difference. Our teammates here understand that now. So we're committed to the community. Our base starts in North Charleston, and then we spread out. So North Charleston's got to be taken care of first, shall we say that. Spread out, and this partnership we have with the North Charleston Recreation Department is a great way to start. So I feel honored on behalf of my company to just do this small piece to help out the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Congratulations to the Boynton team and also the North Charleston team. Thanks for all what you do for this city. Thank you. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we need to call, we have Ms. Cora Connor. Is that correct? Ms. Cora Connor.
Here she comes. Cora.
Okay, this time we have proclamation by retinal awareness. Madam Clerk, would you read the proclamation, please?
A proclamation. Whereas renal medullary carcinoma is a very rare and aggressive form of kidney cancer, and whereas this type of cancer has been linked to affect almost exclusively African Americans who have the sickle cell trait, and whereas by declaring the month of March as renal medullary Carcinoma Month, it is hoped that it will help promote awareness and educate the public about the sickle cell trait to improve the coordination of healthcare resources for individuals who have RMC and their caregivers to connect with and gain access to healthcare and social support services. And whereas it will help advocate on behalf of individuals who have RMC, and whereas it will help encourage members of the public to have testing performed to identify carriers of the sickle cell trait, and whereas once it has been determined that someone has the sickle cell trait, they should be required to have yearly kidney screenings, and whereas individuals who have RMC can collaborate with the government, hospitals, and other facilities to develop comprehensive strategies for their health care. Now, therefore, be it resolved, on behalf of R. Keith Summey, Mayor of the City of North Charleston, do hereby proclaim March 2016 as Renal Medullary Carcinoma Awareness Month in the city of North Charleston and urge all citizens to participate wholeheartedly in its observance.
Ms. Connor, we welcome you, and we appreciate all the work you do in this community. And we'd like to present this proclamation to you and give you some time to say a couple of
I would like to thank Mayor Summey and members of council for recognizing renal medullary carcinoma for the month of March. Our hope is that individuals who carry the sickle cell trait will become aware of this silent killer. My brother Herman was diagnosed in 2012, and today, almost 4 years later, is an RMC survivor. It is because of him and others like him that we fight back against a disease that takes too many young men and women. It is our goal to bring awareness to RMC so your loved one never has to hear the words, "You have renal medullary carcinoma." On behalf of myself, the entire Connor family, and the RMC Foundation, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the proclamation for the Red Cross Month, and Ms. Louise Williams. And then you'll help her there, huh? Council. Here you come.
Do you want me to read that, sir?
Congratulations, Madam. Would you read the proclamation?
A proclamation. Whereas in the city of North Charleston, we have a long history of helping our neighbors in need. The American Red Cross Month is a special time to recognize and thank our everyday heroes, those selfless Red Cross volunteers and donors who give of their time and resources to help community members. And whereas these heroes help families find a shelter after a home fire, they give blood to help trauma victims and cancer patients. They deliver comfort items to military members in the hospital. They use their life-saving skills to save someone from heart attack, drowning, or choking. They enable children around the globe to be vaccinated from measles and rubella. And whereas the American Red Cross depends on local heroes to deliver help and hope during a disaster, we applaud our heroes here in the city of North Charleston who give of themselves to assist their neighbors when they need a helping hand. And whereas across the country and around the world, the American Red Cross responds to disasters big and small. In fact, every 8 minutes, the organization responds to a community disaster, providing shelter, food, emotional support, and other necessities to those affected. It collects 40% of the nation's blood supply, provides 24-hour support to military members, veterans, and their families, teaches millions of life-saving skills, such as lifeguarding and CPR, and through its Restoring Family Links program, connects family members separated by crisis, conflict, or mitigation. And whereas we dedicate the month of March to all of those who support the American Red Cross mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Our community depends on the American Red Cross, which relies on donations of time, money, and blood to fulfill its humanitarian mission. Now, therefore, on behalf of R. Keith Summey, Mayor of the City of North Charleston, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2016 as American Red Cross Month and encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. We all know what the Red Cross does in the city of North Charleston. They've been a partner with us for a good many years. In fact, they are our neighbor now, and we're so proud of the work they do for our city, and they have for many years, and they come through. I think they just had, we had a recent fire, and they were on the scene helping some people out this past week. So we do appreciate all these volunteers that come, and I'm going to present this proclamation to you, and then I want to give you a couple minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm joined with our board chair, Sid Boone, and Candy from Blood Services. Mayor and council, thank you. Your Red Cross has been awfully busy in the past year, and the city of North Charleston has been by our side the whole way. You roll up your sleeves and give blood when we need it. You call us when there's a fire and families need us. The American Red Cross has assisted over 80 families right here in the city of North Charleston in the last 13 months. We also assisted 69 North Charleston families after the floods. Oh, the floods. Y'all had an opportunity to see what your Red Cross does right next door during the floods. My heart, I saw Mayor Summey at many of the state and the county press conferences. He'll never know how much that hug meant when I needed it most. But your staff and your volunteers, the phone calls that we got, what can we do, thank you for what we were doing from city employees was amazing. They follow their leader's example. Thank you so much for being such a good partner to the American Red Cross. The smoke alarms, I have to say, the Red Cross loves the North Charleston Fire Department. We're working with them now. We've put in 70 smoke alarms in North Charleston residents. We've got another smoke alarm blitz on April the 23rd. You need to come with us. It's to watch your firefighters go in. We educate the families on how to get out if there's a family. It's a great partnership, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Appreciate y'all very much. Ladies and gentlemen, next item, we want introduction of Miss North Charleston and Miss North Charleston Teen. Our Tourism Director, Amy Heath.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. It's my pleasure to introduce to you tonight the newly crowned Miss North Charleston and Miss North Charleston Teen. Both ladies are very accomplished and will represent our city proudly in the Miss South Carolina and Miss South Carolina Teen pageants in June. Please help me give a warm welcome to Miss North Charleston 2016, Bethany Jenkins, and Miss North Charleston Teen, Faith Dazel. At this time, I'd like to offer the microphone to each of them to let them tell you a little bit about themselves and what they plan to accomplish during their reign.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Thank you so much for your service to the city and for having us this evening. We're so excited to have the opportunity to represent the city this June at the Miss South Carolina pageant. The Miss America organization is the largest funding of scholarships to young women in the world, and it operates on 4 points: service, scholarship, style, and success. And Faith and I are really excited to embody all of those traits throughout the community this year. So far, we've gotten to do a lot of community service projects. We volunteered at Cinderella Day, we did Pancake Day at IHOP, we did a park picnic for teddy bears and children with the Parks Conservancy. And so we just have a lot more things planned coming up this year. My personal platform is Take the Can Out of Cancer, and Faith's platform deals with mentoring, and so we're so excited to have the opportunity to be here and work further with the city.
I would just like to add that we cannot wait to represent North Charleston and serve our city further, and we're really excited about what this year has to offer.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, where do you go to school?
I just graduated from the College of Charleston with a Bachelor's of Science in Biology.
Great,
And I attend Academic Magnet High School, which is right here.
great, thank you.
We still growing pretty, don't we? And tall.
Next item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is the introduction of the Fort Dorchester State Championship football team, and Ron Brinson will be handling that. Ron, you up this time.
Mayor Pro Tem. It is the
I'm going to have a.
South Carolina
I'm going to ask Eileen to come out
State
for the program.
boys football team, but more excitingly, it is also the champion powder puff football team. And before we go any further, they're both located in District 4. Reggie?
Like Councilman Brinson said, this is our team. Fort Chester is North Charleston in his area, but it's our team. I was talking to Mr. Brinson a while back, and I went to high school in 1979. Now, we have a lot of schools represented here. Councilman Brown went to North Charleston High, Councilwoman Jameson went to Bonds Wilson High, Councilman King went to North Charleston High. The mayor went to Shakur, which is military magnet. Mr. Skipper went to Stall High School, and Mr. Brown went to Shakur High School, and Mr. Brinson went to Han. So all these council members are from here, and we're trying to represent North Charleston the best way we can. Yeah, he went to Stall. Yeah, Brady went to Stall. So it's a North Charleston thing, if you want to believe it or not. But since 1979, when I went to high school, I don't ever remember any high school football, any high school in our city that won the state championship in football. So this will be the first year. But we're going to bring our girls out first. We had 6 teams this year in Powder Puff. We had North Charleston High, Stall High, Garrett High, Military Magnet, Hanahan, and Fort Chester. And the champion were the Fort Chester Patriots, Lady Patriots. Captain Palm, you can bring the money.
I think Eileen's going to come out and help me run this program because I'm not familiar with it. Eileen?
Here come the champs.
Eileen's going to help him.
Okay, as you see here, now all of our teams are coached by police officers. So you have Captain Karen Cordray at the end, and then you have SRO Muckavaney here, and we have Yance, and then we have a really anchor is LaPrade. That's Coach LaPrade's daughter, so we figure if we can get the best out of the father, then it can make us better. But these young ladies right here, this was their first year in the Powder Puff League. And they actually, these girls been these young ladies, but they actually, when we got the team together, what I did was, when I went to the school, I talked to Coach LaPrade in Muckavaney. I said, we need a team for Fort Chester. This is the biggest high school in our city. So I went in the lunchroom, and Muckavaney started recruiting. So he had about 2 or 3. I said, okay, don't worry about it. I went and I made a poster, and I had a poster with all the other high schools on it, and said, y'all can't protect the fort. So I called them out. So I put in the lunchroom, in the hallway. Muckavaney called me in 30 minutes. Man, I got these girls in my office, man. I need to sign them up. So that's what kind of got them straight. But they had been practicing way before the season. And now they're lifting weights. I mean, it's crazy. But they really believe in the Powder Puff. And for law enforcement, it gives us a great connect with these young ladies. That's what it's about for us. Because when they see us in church or in any place in the street, in the neighborhoods, they always come up to us. Doesn't matter who it is, they remember us, and they're like our daughters, and we really appreciate it. Can we get the video, you think? We can get it running. We're going to try to play this video. Now, if we can get this video played, this is when we did the Combine and the Sertoma and the regular season. These are all police officers with these young ladies. Here we get ready to go to the Sertoma right now. It's the first time the females ever played in Sertoma's 45-year history. Here comes the banging. That's me. That's the chief. This is during the regular season. We played in all the team's football fields. North Charleston, Fort D, Stall, Hanahan.
What was the final score? 30-0.
That's a little rough right here now. It gets a little rough out there. And what happens is the mayor, he comes out, and he cooks for the girls at the stadium, and then he goes in the field and, try to do some of the moves he did back in Chicora days. But yeah.
I want to tell you, these girls take it seriously. I mean, when they block, they block. And they got, some of them can pass as good as any college player that's out there. I mean, they can throw the ball. Surprising.
And we played the championship game, which will be next. First team ever played on an artificial turf at Charleston Southern University. They allow us to come there and play, and no other high school ever played on that field, the turf field, before. So our girls were the first. There you go, the championship game. Hanahan versus Fort D. It's tough now. Garrett. No, they were like 4. That's the championship. There you go. Mayor, if you don't mind, they want to come down here and take a put you with you.
All right, I'm getting in the back.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, could I have one more second?
Yes.
I'd like to recognize the principal of Fort Dorchester High, Mr. Parcell. And you know, Mr. Mayor, we don't want this to end without pointing out that you know, everybody seems to be a winner, and this tells us so much about what a good job our police department does throughout this community. So Reggie, to you and all of your colleagues, thanks for a job well done. Real leadership. Hello, Reggie.
We're going to try to get on this. Sorry. Tech talk.
You got to answer what I just said. Thank you, man.
No, thank you all, thank you all. These jerseys that you see right here, every year we pick an all-conference team, which a lot of these girls are on the all-conference team, but these three jerseys are the defensive MVP, which is Desiree Ball from North Charleston High. She's a two-time defensive MVP. She's a senior, and she'll be graduating. Matter of fact, Desiree has almost a perfect ACT score, and she was North Charleston High, so that's a big thing. Then you got Callie Shirley. I always get it. She was offensive MVP. She's an awesome quarterback. You also heard on the film. She was, you know, shuttling and all kind of things. An awesome young lady. Then Ashley Meckley, who's the Hanahan, she was our herdsman. Y'all heard the Heisman, right? We do a herdsman. So she's our herdsman. So these are hanging up in the police department so everybody can see them. All right, we're gonna bring out, like I said, since 1979, we've never had a state championship football team in boys. The Division I is the biggest league in the state. That means that's like Dorman, Burns, all the big schools. Fort Dorchester went 15-0, won everybody, and they brought it back home to North Charleston. We're gonna put this video right here while they come out. There they go. Come on up, fellas. Coach Brad, come on up here. This is the man. Now, if we can get that video playing, if we can get it going. Coach Brad coached a lot of superstars. If you look at it, you look at the Rams, you have Quinn. The video's playing. This is the video when they come out. As enduring as our passion, tradition originates from my core. History echoes through my walls. For over 2 decades, I've given rise to legends, and today I await the next one. Like our alma mater, we ring in the spirit where patriots do not hide. I am a sea of red, silver, and blue with a sound that doesn't just pierce the air. It penetrates your soul. I am the place where every odyssey starts with 2014, where your wake-up call is our battle cry. Trespassers, beware. To enter is to sacrifice. It is Friday Night Football. Welcome to the Fort.
Remember back in the day, Los, when we used to be on that field doing our thing? Yeah, man.
Look at that. Look at that. That's Fort Dorchester right there.
You hear that? Do you hear that? Is that them boys coming? Is that them boys? Is that them boys coming? Where they at? Where they at? Let's get it up. Bring it up. Where they at?
All right. I'm going to turn the mic over to Coach Pratt, but like I said, since I've been in the city of North Charleston all my life, I haven't seen, since I've been in high school, I haven't seen one football team. We had basketball teams that win state championship, but not the football team since I've been in high school. And you saw on that video, you saw Quinn, who plays for the Rams, You see Carlos Dunlap, who plays for the Bengals, and then Byron Maxwell, I think just got traded. But all those three guys are starters in the NFL, and they're right here from North Charleston High School. This guy coached them. Give it up for Coach Pratt.
Reggie, thanks. First of all, I really want to thank the city of North Charleston. You guys do a whole lot for us. It's great to, a lot of people think we're from Somerville. We're not from Somerville. We're from North Charleston. We're proud to be from North Charleston. We're the best high school in North Charleston. I'm sorry if you go to North Charleston or Stahl, but we're the best high school academically. We're the best high school athletically. I'm kind of mostly responsible for this football team, and I want to make sure we're the best team in North Charleston and the best team in the state. And I appreciate what you people do for us. You do a whole lot, and I can't thank you enough. These young men have no idea the backing we get from North Charleston. So we're proud to live in North Charleston and proud to be a part of y'all. I've got a little something here from that we want to give you. I saw Mayor Summey run out the back door. I don't know if he had to go to the bathroom or he was leaving, but Mayor's gone. When you're the mayor, you can do that. That's right. But this man right here helps us a bunch too. But I want to give this. This is to the city of North Charleston. This is a picture that we took right after winning the state championship in Williams-Brice. The heading on it's perfect because luckily this year we were perfect. And I want this to town. And I want to leave this trophy up here for a week or so for you guys to enjoy here, the state championship trophy. And I appreciate what you guys do.
First of all, we can't say often enough how proud we are, not only of this team, but the program at Fort Dorchester. You said something that is a real key, that football team, best in the state, but Fort Dorchester is an excellent high school. And
yes,
did I hear you say that it's in North Charleston?
It is.
And, oh, by the way, Coach, what do you think of these girls?
I tell you what, we just win football everywhere.
There you
Boys,
go.
girls, we got it going on, don't we, girls? That's right.
Congratulations, Mr. Postel. Thank you so much for coming, guys. We're sorry we made you wait so long, but you know the business of this city can be ponderous at times. So thank you so much. We're so proud of all of you. Thanks,
Well, we appreciate what you do.
Deputy Chief Burgess, I would like to take this opportunity to ask us to invest in all of these young men and women for our police academy, for whatever, so they can stay here in the city of North Charleston. Thank you.
And Mr. Brinson, I also like to say, I'm proud to say that my son is a part of this team, Mike Brown.
Any pictures?
Yeah, I want to let them get out. I was going to congratulate them, but they're already gone.
Yep.
got the one.
They are beautiful. Should put them up here on the counter, up on the ledge, so they can be seen.
I think we're ready.
All right, back to
Ladies and gentlemen, we're
business.
going to continue with agenda. Madam Clerk, would you read the roll?
I like fun meetings like that. Item 1 is a request to approve the minutes from the February 25th, 2016 City Council meeting.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Moving second. Any discussion? All those in, and go call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Jamison?
Aye.
Mr. Brinson? Mr. Skipper?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Is that all we got left?
That's all we got left.
That's a shame. Motion carries
Doesn't matter.
unanimously.
Okay.
Item 2 is the first reading and a public hearing for an ordinance amending the Oak Ridge Construction Plan Development District, 7206 Bryhawk Circle, Charleston County, TMS 397 0000441, to expand the PDD to include the entire parcel, change the permitted uses list, and rename the PDD as Mobile Mini Storage in Council District 6. Melanie
Eileen?
is here.
Good evening. I'll be brief. This is I'm sorry, I'll go through the slides. This is a proposed amendment to a PD that's currently named Oak Ridge Construction, and this amendment would be renamed Mobile Mini Storage. The property owner is Property Pros LLC. The applicant is Mr. Frank Harris. The representative is Mr. Chris Marshall. The entire acreage of the parcel is just over 9 acres, annexed in 1973 and a part of Council District 6. This is a picture of the property as it was posted for tonight's meeting. An aerial of the property showing its location. Just to the right of the picture, the east of the property is the Air Force Base. The surrounding area is an industrialized area off Cross County Road. This is a zoning map of the property showing it. The bulk of the property is currently zoned PD. A small section was remained with M1 zoning, and this amendment would extend the PD zoning over the entire parcel. And the future land use map shows the entire parcel is designated for light industrial uses. Okay. And this is the container storage plan that was, well, the idea of their container storage plan would be to store containers in the areas that are shown in yellow there. So this is a proposed amendment to a PD to rename it, expand it, modify the uses to allow for stacking of containers up to 26 feet, and otherwise make minor changes to the PD. Given the location of the property in an industrialized area with other container stacking operations nearby, staff recommended approval, and the Planning Commission concurred unanimously.
Any comments from council? If not, this is advertised public hearing. If you wish to comment on it, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I feel more comfortable speaking on these issues under the zoning, especially industrial zonings.
Your name and your address, sir?
Anthony G. Bryant, 2123 Cortland Avenue, South Carolina 29403, regarding industrial zonings in the comprehensive plan in general under the Planning and Enabling Act of 1994. In 2008, under zonings, I actually, under public health and public safety, I actually filed a complaint to the EPA regarding industrial zonings, period. The director, Air Pesticides and Toxic Management Division, to the EPA, and this was given to Kurt Taylor, to give it to Keith Bustrin on September 2015. Mr. Michael Brown, for the reason we had actually a complaint regarding the use of the incinerator industrial zonings completely throughout the whole state, and the Department of Commerce as well. Also, we did not make a claim on behalf of the City of North Charleston by the Justice Department A claim is illegal, and a claim under a public entity is illegal. So therefore, we made a complaint to Justice Department regarding air qualities that was cited in USA Today in the whole area. USA put it St. John's Elementary School and Shakur Elementary School. That was in the USA Today. We added that to the situation as well. Deeply concerned about industrial zonings clearly in the country under lead, under DHEC, under EPA around the country regarding the issue of lead. I grew up in North Charleston, played football at North Charleston High School, and got a football scholarship to play football in North Charleston. But the issue of the day is basically about the quality of air and the quality of life and the quality of water. And these zonings have to be reevaluated within your comprehensive plan and the comprehensive plan around the whole nation. This is a serious issue here. It needs to be dealt with. And I want to get to Michael Brown above my attention in 2008 under the Greenbelt funding. So I want this to be clear in the comprehensive planning of the city of North Charleston, not in terms of a particular land use, but in terms of having DHEC, the EPA, and others do a comprehensive opinion regarding these issues that are paramount around the nation. I don't, how you vote on this issue is how you vote. You can vote up or down on it. It really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the fact that my intention was undermined. In essence of it was a complaint, not a claim. A chamber member, a law firm, said it was a claim. It was a complaint from a BZA member in good standing of many, many years on the issue of land use. That's what I'm known for, land use issues. Nothing else. I speak for myself, no organization, no group, just me as an advocate of land use for 20-some years in my career. So I'm deeply concerned about this issue. Hopefully it'll be a public hearing by the EPA and DHEC on all past zoning issues, all permits by the Army Corps of Engineers, all permits by the DHEC. It's vitally important that we really look at these issues of the perimeter of the base right now, which was transferred over from the Department of Defense to the state of South Carolina. It's a serious issues on the issue of industrial zonings and uses. And thank you for your service and time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Bryant?
If not, we're going to refer this to the Public Safety Committee, which meets next Thursday at 5 o'clock at that time. Okay, next item, Madam.
Item 3 is the first reading and a public hearing for an ordinance amending subsection 5-5B M1 Light Industrial Conditional Uses section of the zoning ordinances of the City of North Charleston to add a new subsection B4 pertaining to tattoo parlors.
Eileen?
This is the same ordinance that was considered by the Committee of the Whole in January. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the ordinance with a slight amendment to extend the prohibition. It about 1,000 feet from any residential district, and they wanted to amend that to say residential district or use, which is common in our ordinance. So that was the minor amendment that they offered.
Okay. Any comments to council? If not, this is advertised public hearing. If you want to speak on this, come to the podium and give your name and address for the record. But if not, we'll refer this to the Public Safety Committee, which meets next Thursday at 5 o'clock. Next item, Madam.
Item 4 is the first reading and a public hearing for an ordinance amending Section 6-2 of the zoning ordinances of the City of North Charleston to specify setbacks for the ON Neighborhood Office District.
Okay, this is an advertised public hearing.
Eileen has a report.
Well, Eileen, you need to do that first.
Thank you. I will be very brief. This ordinance codifies the setbacks that staff has been applying to the ON zoned parcels, which mirror the B1 setbacks. Staff recommends approval and the Planning Commission concurred unanimously.
Okay. Any comments, council? If not, this is advertised public hearing. Please come to the podium, state your name and record for the record. Name and address.
We're losing her.
Hearing none, we'll refer this to the Public Safety Committee, which meets next Thursday at 5 o'clock.
That's all I have, sir.
That's all you have? I have one item on here.
What do you have?
Replace fountain at Riverfront Park.
No, sir. That meeting didn't take place.
Okay.
So
This time, I'd like to recognize, the Delta Group, ladies. Y'all from the Delta Group, we'd like to recognize y'all. Please stand and welcome. That's all the agenda items. Is anything else to come before council? If not, we adjourned.